So we will post it to our website for future viewing. So thank you for joining us this morning as we welcome AC Transit to give us an update on their small business participation plan. I'm delighted to welcome Philip Halley, who will be presenting this morning. So Philip, thank you for joining us, and you can go ahead and have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity. I will say that in our unit over at AC Transit, we are the contracts compliance unit. And as I show my slides, I'll probably say that again. There's two of us, myself, I'm the program manager, and then one of my staff, her name is Brooklyn. She's out today on vacation, well deserved. She would normally be doing this. She does it way better than I do and has that personality to really engage everybody and really sort of put this mission and message out there. So with that said, I am going to bring up my presentation. Let's see here. There we go. All right, folks should be seeing that. Perfect, and get it into presentation mode. There we go. All right, so again, my name is Philip Halley. I'm with AC Transit and part of the contracts compliance unit that primarily deals with three aspects. One is reviewing contracts before they go out. So our procurement team routes contract solicitations through our office. We take a look at them, make sure that there's the appropriate regulatory language, and if we look for small business, local business opportunities in the contracts, then we make sure that that language is in the contracts. And as I said, we are very interested in small business and local business, disadvantaged business, minority-owned businesses getting a piece of AC Transit's contracting opportunities. So that's the second piece that we do and what we're going to be talking about today. And then the third piece that we do is labor compliance, and that is once contracts are let out on the street and awarded, and they involve any type of public works, construction, maintenance, things like that, we do site visits, talk to the different contractors, talk to the employees, and make sure that they're following the California and federal labor compliance laws. So that's what we do with just the two of us right now. We are ramping up, but the two of us are out there putting up the good fight and making sure that we do all these things. So, all right, let's see here. This is the agenda for today. Hopefully it's several items on here, but we'll get through them pretty quickly. Introduction of the contracts compliance team, about AC Transit, the types of goods and services that we look for when we're procuring, give an update on our diverse small local business participation program, how companies can get certified and where they can get certified at, and we have some links in the presentation. So if Ryan hasn't sent it out already, once we're done with this, you guys will get a copy of this, and then you can send it out to the folks or post it to your website as you feel necessary. We'll look at our past and present opportunities, and then how to register to do business with us so that companies and vendors can stay up to date on their opportunities that meet their company needs and their services. And then the last piece, which is really important to us right now, is how do we do better at engaging small businesses and local businesses? And I'll give a recent example of what has occurred on that and why we want to continue to push that. So let's see, we'll move on. I didn't know if somebody was going to say something. Is it Dr. Curtis? No? Okay. So here again, contracts compliance team falls under the Department of Civil Rights and Compliance. Here's my name and title and contact information. And as I mentioned, one of my right-hand folks is Brooklyn, and she's on vacation. You can email either of us with any questions. However, we do have a unit email address, contractscompliance@actransit.org. That's where we prefer to get our emails, especially inquiries, because that allows both of us to see these come through, and either one of us can respond to that. So the only thing on the unit email address is just to notice that the word contract has an S on the end of it. So it's contracts, compliance@actransit.org. And that's the best way to reach us with an inquiry or giving us information. All right, so AC Transit service area, you guys are in Berkeley. You kind of know where we are and what we serve, but just an overview of our service area. 13 cities within some adjacent unincorporated areas, both Alameda and Contra Costa County. Serving approximately 1.5 million people in 364 square mile area. So pretty much all of the East Bay, or at least the West East Bay, if you want to call it that. And so, Alameda, Contra Costa County, go back, there we go. Unincorporated areas, Ashland, Castro Valley, Cherryland, El Sobrante, and those areas, as well as understanding that we do reach out into San Francisco with the Bay Bridge and head over to Foster City, San Mateo, Stanford, and Palo Alto as well. So a very big reach for our AC Transit service area. But when we're talking about looking at our small business and our local business, diverse women-owned businesses, we primarily focus on Alameda and Contra Costa counties and looking for those, although we do accept all across the state. Our preference is looking locally first and then reaching out. All right, so there we go. So what goods and services do we purchase? We've done this meeting a couple of times, and as I mentioned, Brooklyn does it way better than I do. Some of the feedback we got is a lot of times chambers, small business organizations, community-based organizations that are supporting small businesses, they think of the type of contracts that AC Transit puts out as construction-related contracts mostly. And the reality is although our construction-related contracts are the larger contracts, in terms of quantity, they're the smaller number of contracts. All of these, think of us as, a Kaiser, as a university or something like that. Everything that it takes to keep us up and running gets put out by a contract. So if you talk about our buses here, some of the things on here are brakes, air conditioned suspension, bearings, fare boxes, engines, filters, things like that. But if you think about the fact that we have bus yards that we have to maintain, we have a general office that we have to maintain, anything that has to do with maintaining those cleaning supplies, painting supplies, administrative supplies, anything to do with safety, office supplies, furniture, we need all of those things on some sort of periodic but reoccurring basis. And so when you're talking to your member firms, member organizations, remind them that it's a good thing to register with us to get notifications on when we want and need these contracts. Because the reality is what we've been doing as part of our participation plan. Brooklyn and I have been reaching out internally to our different project managers within our different divisions and our different programs, and reminding them that when they're looking for these services or these goods, they should be looking locally first, as well as small women-owned, minority-owned businesses. And so we've been doing that over the last 6 months, meeting with them regularly, reminding them as these projects and these needs come up. I pretty much ask them a straightforward question, and that is, when they put this out there, they need to tell me why a local or small business can't do this first. So don't think of a small local business as a secondary thing. Think of it as a primary, and give me a good justification on why a smaller local business can't do this. And then we'll have a conversation. And so that's what we've been working on as well. Another thing, and we'll get to it, I'll run through this and we'll get to kind of the plan, but these are the different goods and services aside from the construction, professional services like legal services, design, planning. Again, those are some of the larger in terms of volume contracts or dollar value contracts. But a lot of these goods and services here there's more quantity of these contracts that are let out. Here's services. So accounting, banking, advertising. I mentioned engineering design, facility support, human resources, IT consulting, Even though we have our own internal IT department, they do set out a lot of contracts for support things. We can't have expertise in everything. And so we have that. Even our marketing team and outreach team, there's a lot going on that they have to do that we don't have in-house expertise. One of the things that we have a huge need for right now is surveying. We need to get a lot of surveying done. And so we're definitely looking at putting out some surveying opportunities there. And here it is, polling and surveying down at the bottom here. So as well as our security services. So again, these are those things that we need that aren't related to construction. So a lot of different contracts that and needs that we're looking for. All right, so this is our goals diversity program certification, kind of things we've been doing to help support and bring in more local small business, DBE firms, and women-owned firms and things like that. So the first top two bullet items are new 10%. So late in 2021, I took to the board a request to establish a 10% small business goal and a 10% local business goal. Those are two separate goals that we now have. And they are joined with, if you look at the DBE, we have a current 10% DBE goal that is valid through September 30th of this year. So contracts, federally funded contracts, have a 10% DBE goal that we try to meet. And that'll be through September of this year until our new goal becomes effective. So we established a 10% small business contracting goal and a 10% local business contracting goal. That doesn't mean that every contract has that goal on it. It means that from an overall standpoint for AC Transit, we're trying to meet that goal. And those were starting points. When I took this to the board, I explained those are starting points. I want to build higher on that and increase that. I got some jokes from them, or I should say laughs, when I told them I'm hoping to get up to where ACTC is. If you guys know ACTC, they have somewhere upwards of 60% local business goals. And so some of the board members, chuckled a little bit at that, but we want to get there. AC Transit's been in the East Bay and in the community for 50, 60 plus years. And the community has supported AC Transit that whole time, and we should be doing everything we can, especially given the impact of the pandemic on small local businesses. And so I think everybody understands that. So that's what we're doing. We establish from time to time small business set-asides, and that means those opportunities that were on the previous slides, only small businesses, certified small businesses are allowed to apply to those. That means the competition from some of the larger firms is not there. And so a small local business is almost guaranteed to get that contract. One of the ones we're working on right now is bid preference points. And what that is simply, it's an open competition for both small, large businesses to apply for the opportunity. But if you are a local or a small business, you get some extra bonus points added to it. So if you're within a certain percentage of like a larger firm, and those bonus points help you get up to where they are into that number one spot, then we look at that small business first for awarding that contract versus the larger firm and doing it. We're working on it. We do have existing language, but we've been told from internal and external stakeholders that the language and how it's applied is confusing. So what we're going to do is try to make that less confusing and make it pretty clear, and make sure that this bid preference points get into all of our contracts so that it's applied whenever a contract is let. It would become invalid if an actual goal was put on a contract. So preference points wouldn't come into play if an actual contracting goal was put on a contract. But absence any contracting goal, then the bid preference points would become on any contract. So we're working on that right now. And all of these items, as you see that last bullet point, it says are based on when we look at the availability of certified small local DBE businesses in the area, in the contracting area. It's all based on NAICS codes, and for NAICS, it's the North American Industry Classification System, if folks needed to know what that was, and that's how different firms indicate the type of business that they're in. And so when we look at setting up either goals or set-asides, then we look at the availability of businesses based on their NAICS codes. Again, our DBE goal is 10%, and that's valid through the end of September. The only thing that holds us back from really achieving a lot of these DBE participation is because of past legislation and cases, we can't actually say in our contracts that we have a DBE goal. Here on the West Coast, a lot of the Western states have trouble putting those in their contracts unless they have a disparity and availability study. And I believe, is it Berkeley did one of those recently, right? The city of Berkeley did a disparity and availability study recently. And I do have that I'm reviewing to see if we can utilize any of that data and information to help with our contracts. And then under certifications, one of the things to know is AC Transit is not a certifying agency, so we don't certify small businesses or DBEs. However, we do partner with a lot of local public agencies that do, as well as accept the Department of General Services from the state of California and the California CUCP, which is Caltrans, that certifies DBEs. So we take all those certifications, and I'm hoping is the next slide. Yes, so the next two slides, I believe, are the certifying agencies. So this is the California Small Business Program. So this is DGS. Alameda County has one. Contra Costa County has a small business program certification. BART does. ACTC, the Alameda, what is it? Alameda County Transportation Commission, ACTC. Port of Oakland has a certification. Caltrans does the DBE certification, as I mentioned. Who is this? The SBA does a small business certification and sets the standards for small businesses. San Francisco has their local business certification. I should mention that both Oakland and Alameda County have a local business certification as well. And then VTA has their small business certifications that we accept as well. And most agencies throughout the state that have a reciprocity program with the state of California, if they have a reciprocity with the state of California, then we accept their small business certifications as well.
Philip, we had a question come in through the chat. Is
Sure.
now an appropriate time to ask it?
Absolutely, yes.
Sure. Someone wants to know regarding goods and services, does AC Transit contract for workers' comp related services like DOT exams, drug screens, pre-employment?
We do. In fact, that's a great question. We are doing all of that right now. You can actually, I click to the next slide, and here you can see past opportunities. The third bullet down is our drug and alcohol screen testing and medical examinations. So we have our drug and alcohol unit, and they do all of the testing for our safety sensitive employees. So our bus operators, our mechanics. And so it's the drug testing, it's the screening, it's the medical review officer. We have, I think, 5 contracts related around that. And then specific to the question on workers' comp, that goes through our HR department. And we also contract out for those services as well, for workers' comp, for, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting what I'm saying, but it's I forget what it is. If I remember it, I'll bring it back up. But EAP is what I meant. What I was going to say, our employee assistance program as well. So we do have a lot of services that we contract out for, and so yeah, I recommend if you're interested in doing business with AC Transit, just register with our website. If it's a very specific or sort of niche, you feel like it's a niche market area, feel free to send us an email and say, do you guys contract out for this service? And Brooklyn and I, we know everyone in our organization. We can reach out to someone and say, do you contract out for this? Or is this something we contract out for? Or maybe you may in the future. And they can give us that answer, and then we can reply, and that will help someone understand whether they want to register to do business with us or not. So absolutely. Hope that answered the question. I see 4 chats. I'm going to open the chat really quick and see if there's anything else. Okay, that looks like that's it. Okay. So again, these are some of our past opportunities. One of the things here, and I apologize for not doing it for this presentation, is we had gotten some feedback to potentially highlight and put information on here on which of these were small businesses and how much small business participation we got on those. We are going to be updating our slides to do that. So again, I apologize for not having it now. Once this gets updated, what we'll do is pass it along to Ryan, and he can reach out and see if you guys want an updated presentation for that. But I suspect the next time around, in maybe 6 months or so, if we're talking to you guys again, then we should have that piece of it updated. Some more past opportunities. I talked about our legal services here. Here it is, third-party administrator for workers' comp claims is on there. So if that answers that question again. PeopleSoft hosting, graffiti abatement, absolutely, on our different platforms and bus shelters. All right, some of our upcoming opportunities. Some of these are on the street now, or they were just recently on the street. So we had, for our Hayward yard, we had some security enhancements we were going to do. In Emeryville, it looks like we had a paint booth. We're always working on our bus washes, especially considering we have double-decker buses. So we have to get larger bus washes that are able to fit the buses in there and do that. Scaffolding to get on top of the buses and replace it. These are mobile scaffolding, so not fixed. So potentially a commodity item. Again, with the lift and hoist, the same thing. Some facility assessments as we look at the structural integrity and the future use of our facilities. So some assessments of that. Again, outreach and surveying, elevator jacks, and looks like we're building out our 9th floor in our general office building downtown Oakland. So just a sampling of things. Again, the best way to stay in the loop, to understand what's coming up, is to register to do business with us. And if you have specific questions, just reach out and we can help answer those questions and tell you if there's opportunities for that, for your area, your business area, for some of your members. Some of the things, again, registering, this is staying in the loop and things you can do. So register, review our opportunities. If it's an opportunity you might be interested in, whether it's a prime or a subcontracting opportunity, attend a pre-bid meeting if they're having them. We were on a call yesterday, and again, I encouraged our project managers and our procurement team to always schedule a pre-bid meeting. They said, are they useful? Should we have one? And I said, always schedule it. The worst case scenario is nobody shows up and we're on the call for 5 minutes. I'm like, so always schedule it, always plan it. Because if you get one contractor there who's asking questions, we've helped somebody. So, so that's the thing here. One of the things I really recommend, especially for small businesses, DVEs, small local businesses, is if you don't get the award, if you bid on something or you put in a quote for something and you don't get it, ask for a debrief. Everybody has the right to have a debrief, and that debrief, we can't tell you what the other people did and what they provided, but what we can say is how you were evaluated, how your quote, your bid was evaluated, and where we thought you could potentially improve. And that's really helpful to get that debrief. And then again, this last bullet is, I will be honest and say it's 100% Brooklyn. That's participate in upcoming networking events. She does lots of outreach and networking events with a consortium of transit agencies in the Bay Area called the Business Outreach Committee. And they do a lot of presentations. They have one coming up soon. I apologize, I don't know the date of that one, but we will get it and get it to you guys. Brooklyn would know off the top of her head. So I do know there's one coming up soon. And let's see. All right, so this is, for me, the most important slide. And this is basically a question for you guys to help us figure out how to help your members better, how to reach your members. What are we doing wrong? What are we doing right in order to reach your membership? And I'll give an example of this because it just happened this past Friday, so a couple days ago. We have an opportunity on the street. It's closed now. It was for tree trimming. We want to deploy some more of our double-decker buses, and we had an opportunity for tree trimming some of the local routes so that our trees and our buses don't get destroyed as they're being deployed. And so we looked at it, we worked with the project manager, looked at it, got an idea of the cost of it, and looked at our small business directories from the different agencies to see what types of firms were out there. And what we found is across the state, there were upwards of around 300 small businesses that did landscaping, tree trimming, arborists, sort of in that category. Of those, 51 were DBEs, certified DBEs. And so we told the project manager, we're going to issue a small business set aside, meaning that only small businesses could bid for this work. And so we sent that out. Our procurement team sent it out. We did multiple outreaches. I think I even posted it on my LinkedIn profile to kind of get the word out a little bit more. And it turns out not a single small business submitted anything for it. And it was really depressing. And the kicker to that is there was a larger firm. They're not huge, but they do a lot of work. I don't know if you guys know West Coast Arborists. They do work around the Bay Area and in certain parts of the state. They're not a certified small business, but they submitted a bid, and that bid, they were disqualified because they weren't a small business, but the dollar value of that bid that they submitted was under $50,000, which is perfect for a certified small business to do that work. And so, we're going to send out a survey. I said Brooklyn's on vacation, but when she gets back, she's sending out a survey to those firms to find out what prevented them from doing that work or submitting something for that work. So that was kind of depressing for us. And so I guess the question for anyone on this call is, how do you see us doing a better job at reaching your members? We did email blasts, basically, is what we did for these opportunities. But how do your members like to be reached for opportunities? We still consider email the best option, but unless there's some other way, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, Philip, I think that, well, likely people just didn't hear about it or they don't know about it. So I'm wondering, can the chamber pass along those specific opportunities as they come out? Like, can the chamber register to be notified and then we can disseminate that information?
The chamber can't necessarily be registered to notify, but what can happen is when those opportunities go out, Brooklyn keeps a list of the different chambers and business organizations that want to sort of participate and help get the word out. So I'll make sure that, and Ryan, I know you're listening in, if you can make sure that Brooklyn has whatever contact information she needs to make sure these opportunities go out to the chamber.
Yeah, we'd love
So
to help spread the word about opportunities. Our mission is to help connect large businesses with our smaller minority and women-owned businesses.
that'd be great. I'm going to pull up the chat here. I see something there. Okay, I see there's just a response there. Okay. So that's really what we want to do, is we want to make sure that we're able to work with the various chambers, business groups, to do a better job at reaching our small business community. And I know, part of what we completely understand is the history of doing businesses or lack of doing businesses with small certified businesses, right? The frustrations with all the negativity. And so we know we have to work to change that. And so, that's why we're out here. We want to do the legwork, and we want to be in the community, reaching and talking to the small businesses and saying, we know you're not going to get every opportunity, but we're going to continue to make those opportunities available. So that's what we're going to do. One last thing, and then I think I'm done, is I just wanted to let you guys know that there's another opportunity. We're at the beginning stages of it right now, to help the different communities that are up in the Berkeley area, and we are working with the Contra Costa County building trades to develop a project labor agreement that covers Contra Costa County. And so I don't know if you guys know Bill Whitney over at the council. He has a draft of our PLA right now, and we'll be meeting with him in the coming weeks to kind of start going over that. But in relation to outreach, I suspect Ryan's team, I've mentioned his name twice, Ryan's team, someone from that group at AC Transit will be doing the engagement with the community in terms of community stakeholders, because part of the PLA is going to include a community workforce agreement that gets local workers some goals on working on these projects that we have up in that area. So for example, our BRT project had a 50% local hire. I don't think we'll have 50% on these new ones, but we will have a local hire percentage for contracts that are out in Contra Costa County. And part of that the outreach for that will involve the group that Ryan's in, and potentially Ryan will be out in the community doing outreach to engage community-based organizations for their input as stakeholders on this particular PLA. So that's coming up. I think over the next year, we're going to be working on it. And so you guys might hear about that from Ryan, see that come out from different avenues. And I believe that is it. Should be, yes, my contact information one more time. And so again, you guys will get either this presentation or an updated presentation from Ryan. So again, I'm Philip Halley, the program manager over at AC Transit Contracts Compliance. Brooklyn works with me. And again, our best outreach or contact email is contracts@actransit.org. And I believe that is it. Thank you very much.
I just say thank you, Mr. Haley, for this great presentation. Also, Mr. Rossner, it was very informative and just greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and Brett, I did see your last comment, which I think probably is very significant, that small business owners do wear many, many hats, and it is difficult to stay on top. And that sometimes getting certified can be time consuming. And so that's just a little nugget there of information that it can be daunting for a small business owner.
That's a good point. We've had one of our board members ask that same question, and that is, why do we look at certified small businesses versus just small businesses? And it's just really hard to say whether someone's a small business or not without getting into personal information, and details. And so relying on that certification to just sort of make sure is just for us that easier step. When you start, if somebody says they're small, and you have to start asking those, sort of tough private questions, one, it becomes a lot of work. And so absolutely, we totally understand that. And we're open to hearing if there's other ways we can potentially do that, rather than, only looking at certified small businesses. So yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Philip, I had a question.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you for the presentation. Yeah, Kenneth Slaughter, Office of Economic Development. Beyond email, do you all utilize social media like Instagram or other channels, TikTok, or some of the ways that we see a lot of our small business owners engaging and being, active?
So we have that's a great comment. We have started to talk to our internal social media team about how we can do that. And I think we're working on it. One of the things we're not going to do, from what I understand, and we can always give them feedback that we've heard we can do it, is they're not going to put it on Twitter, because they want to leave Twitter for our bus notices. And when we start pushing out business related things, then it confuses our riders. That's the message we got, is that, let's leave Twitter for our bus notifications. I've put it on my LinkedIn. Every now and then, I think it shows up on our AC Transit LinkedIn, some opportunities, but not every opportunity. And then I don't know about Facebook or TikTok. And so those are some of the things we can talk to our internal marketing team about, is how to make sure we get these out there on those avenues and channels. The question would be from them is, are we doing every opportunity we release as an organization, or only those for with small business opportunities attached to them? And so that would have to be a discussion that we have internally on how to do that. But you're absolutely right. We do need to look at, as the generations change, right, how they are most engaged. And email is great, but I have my what is it called, preteen kid, and he's like, "What's email?" And so, I totally get it. In another 10, 15 years, it's just not going to be the way to reach businesses. So absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for considering that. It's just so more, vivid and engaging and just rapid fire. People just flip through things instead of digging through a pile of emails, which may have, a bill from PG&E, a notice from this, an email from mom. I mean, it's
Yep.
just a
Or CC
smorgasbord of
and copy
different
CC and copy
things.
CC and copy CC on all the emails, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then how about notices to some of the organizations, maybe it's black fraternities or the 100 Black Men of the Bay Area or 100 Black Women or some of the sector based demographic organizations that are regionally active.
So that's exactly what we're looking for. One of the more recent ones we got, and I'm not happy with reaching out to them, but it's something I will, because they're a national group. Is it WeBank, the women's business? I mean, I understand they're national and probably international. So I was like, is there a local chapter to maybe just California or some of the counties? And we haven't heard back from them yet. And so you're right. We do need to reach those types of organizations and groups that represent our region, right? So and if we can do that, the question becomes, are they is their membership business based? I mean, we don't want to send them emails that they're not going to pass out because it doesn't meet their, so we need to engage them, basically. You're absolutely right. And if you have a resource of those different businesses or organizations that we should be reaching out to, we're happy to take that and move on it, because again, we are definitely trying to do a better job at getting small local businesses,
Yep.
minority owned businesses involved. Absolutely.
Yeah, because many of them have, committees, for example, and if there's a committee that receives this email and then passes it on to the membership, those members know it's coming from a trusted source. It's a referral. It's almost like a word of mouth. Hey, did you hear about this? And so oftentimes people will perk up if a friend or somebody in their organization tells them they heard about an opportunity, and look at the top of your inbox, or look on LinkedIn and I sent it to you, and you can open it there. So just some other things to consider. And obviously I know it's labor intensive, but in-person events at in-person attendance at certain events, obviously Juneteenth and some of the
Yep.
parades and activities that happen in and around Oakland, and even some of the non-traditional stuff like scraper bike team on during Friday nights or first Fridays, or just
Hmm.
some non-traditional methods of getting the word out. It may not always reach the intended audience, but I think at least spreading it out more than just the kind of the business focus email may
Okay.
reap some rewards, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that they may not all be registered, but at least we can try and get to them and let them know there's more opportunities. But yeah, thanks for this is really informative.
No, and I thank you. I appreciate that feedback. And that's that last slide. I said, how can we do better, right? So definitely appreciate that. If you want to pass along any of those organizations you think we can hit up, within the next couple of months, next 2 or 3 months, and really sort of get some inroads there, we'd happy to move on that. So thank you.
Great. Well, Philip, Ryan, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time with us this morning. Thank you for everyone who attended. Once Ryan sends me the slides, I'll be happy to share those with all of you. And we'll go ahead and post this recording on our archive site later this week. So thank you, Philip. We welcome you back anytime, 6 months, a year. We're happy to do these periodically and keep our members updated on opportunities.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and appreciate everybody who attended and all the questions and information we got. And anytime you want to hear back from us as well, if Ryan, I'll put it on Ryan. If Ryan hasn't reached out and said something, if you guys want us to come back, let us know and we will be there. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks,
right,
everyone. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.